So we'll bring in Rick Vaive now. Hey, Squid, what's going on, man?
I'm good, Kipper. How are you?
We're well. Hey, congratulations on 40 years since your 50th goal against St. Louis and my old roommate, Mike Liut. When you think of the number 40, it's mind-boggling, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is, actually. I didn't know if I'd be around to celebrate the 40th anniversary, but there was many times early when I was younger that there was times where I thought, oh, maybe I won't make it to 62, but I did, and it's amazing that it's gone this long.
What do you remember about that particular night, and what you felt? Because you were the first to do it with an historic franchise. This isn't, Columbus or anyone else that recently got in the league. But, was it relief? Was it happiness? Like, what went through your mind, and what maybe Auston Matthews might be going through as he closes in on that?
Well, it was a lot of everything, really. There was a lot of leading up to it, and the pressure to get there because we're so close with X amount of games left. And fortunately, the game before against Chicago, I got 4, which brought me to 49 and passed Frank Mahovlich's 48. And then, we had a lot of games left, so the pressure was kind of off. I figured I would do it, especially with the guys I was playing with on our power play. And on that particular goal, Billy D did all the work, made a beautiful backhand pass across, and all I had to do was one time it into the net. And it was then everything after that was joy and just honor, really, to think that you're the first player of a franchise that's been around for, I think, almost 70 years at that point, that you were the first person to do that. It was incredible.
And, has rarely happened since. And, right now the Leafs have a guy in Auston Matthews who's chasing records of his own. I wonder when you watch him play, what do you think he is going through? I wonder sometimes if you feel the pressure to shoot and score goals more than, does it take you out of your normal way of thinking, knowing that pursuit is kind of in process?
Well, I think everybody's different, but I don't think there's anybody playing in the National Hockey League that is in that situation that doesn't think about it. You wake up and that's on your mind, and there's going to be a moment where, he gets to the 50, first of all, which I'd be shocked if he doesn't. And then all of a sudden, then it's like, okay, now I got to get to 55. And there's going to be pressure on him, I would imagine, but he seems like a pretty even-keel kid that can handle that kind of stuff from what I've seen and the people that I've talked to. So I don't see him having any problem doing it.
You guys both look like pure shooters, of course, and with that in mind, your first instinct is to shoot the puck and ask questions later. But does it get to a point down the stretch where you have to talk to your teammates as well and go, hey, listen, you don't have to overpass to me. You don't have to, don't change too much of your game. Does that go on at all, Rick? Did it go? I know you had Billy Derlago there, and it's a hell of a pass on his backhand, I think, on Mike Liut to you. And he is a natural passer, disher anyways, but others, was it to the point where it's like, guys, let's stay within the game and the team concept here, and it's not me chasing a record first and foremost?
Yeah, I think, there was times where we talked about that, and there was a bunch of times where I said, guys, look, if I'm open, yeah, give me the puck. But don't look for me in particular, because regardless of what happens, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is that we go out. Now, mind you, back in those days when you were playing for the Maple Leafs, we didn't have a lot of great coaching or anything at that point, and winning hockey games was the toughest part. So it was kind of said a lot of times that, let's try and win the game, and whatever happens, happens.
What are your thoughts on the way Matthews plays? Is it does it remind you of your own style in any way, or is it just a totally different way that he goes about getting his goals?
Oh, I think it's quite a bit different in a sense. I mean, the game has evolved so much. I mean, it's hard to compare the 80s to what's going on now in the league. I mean, getting hooked all the way down the ice. I mean, I remember defensemen had no palms in their gloves because it was easier for them to grab onto your sweater in the corners and behind the net. And, I mean, that doesn't happen today. But then again, the goaltenders are better. The goaltending equipment is bigger. So, you know what? I've always said you put anybody that has done that multiple times and you put them in any other decade, they'd be able to do the same thing because you would adapt to the style of play that whatever is going on in that decade, and you would train differently, obviously, as they do now compared to what we did in the 80s. But, I think, but he's got a fantastic shot and great skills. It's like off the charts. Put it this way, if I tried to do half the stuff he does, I'd probably blow my knee out a few times.
Rick, it's so funny because you hear a lot of the newer generation, JB included, will say, the game's changed a lot. And then I watch Auston Matthews cross-check Dahlin right against the face.
I love it.
I'm like, it hasn't changed that much. And just your thought, because you, of course, in that era had to fight for every inch that you got. And every once in a while, that meant keeping your stick up. That meant dropping your gloves and fighting. And, of course, it's not that way today. But did you like the response of Matthews, even though it cost him 2 games?
Yeah, I did and I didn't. I mean, obviously you got to stick up for yourself. And I think that's what all the players need to understand is that, the days of having somebody on the bench just to protect the best players are gone. I mean, they're not around anymore. I mean, the game has changed that much. So you got to have to stick up for yourself. So I thought that was great that he did stick up for himself. I think maybe he went a little too far, because it cost him 2 games. And, who knows? I mean, if he looks back and he ends up with 53, he may look back on that and go, uh-oh, what if I hadn't have gotten those 2 game suspension? So, I mean, but you know what? I love the way he plays. And I've seen the maturity over the years, too. And I really do believe that incident in Arizona a few summers ago, I think that woke him up a little bit. And I think he realized that he had to be a better player and a better person. And since then, if you look at his numbers, I mean, they're through the roof.
Yeah.